All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back from our break, ready to start the second set of the night. Is going to be LGD taking on World Elite. As you can see, the stats from last game still on the screen, and we'll let you know what the MVP was. But hey, Frostgren, are you ready for another matchup?
I am indeed, and this time around it's going to be, what, World Elite versus LGD?
Yep, it's going to be a pretty solid one, but hey, we're getting a little recognition for your favorite AD carry there in that last game. Kid rocking Kog'Maw got the MVP award.
The blue suede shoes were strong on that one. The kite potential,
I don't think it's a boot upgrade.
I know, right? His entire team was what, 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, and then Kog'Maw coming out like 12-2.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal, but moving on to our next match, we discussed a little bit about this in the analyst desk in the off hour, but LGD, despite being a team that is not necessarily the favorite of this matchup, definitely more of a dark horse than Starhorn, potentially, even against a team like World Elite. I mean, they're sitting in second place right now. Well, third place, technically, after Starhorn taking one of the games of the earlier set. But I somehow don't see this one going to a 2-0. I mean, I don't want to make too many predictions. You're the color commentator in this one. I'll let you say what you will on it. But what do you really think LGD will bring to this one?
I also think we're about to get to the lineups here. LGD, it's hard for me to say. I feel like we talked a lot about kind of at length to their strong suits in the desk between the hour-long break. And I feel like it really comes down to the fact that Wayless is really strong for them and PYL is really strong for them. Specifically, PYL's Thresh. And I feel like his Thresh is much stronger than Conan's Thresh. We talk about how World Elite, it's their game to lose, and whether they can kind of go back to their compositions that work for them. Composition that works for them. Utility mid to offer more power to Wei Xiao. Kick Conan out of the lane. Give Wei Xiao as much solo experience as possible, and we are going to go ahead and start with the team lineup. So this is going to be Xiaomei in the top lane, arguably possibly the best top laner in China right now. This guy
stands for Xiaomei.
This guy is unreal. He's also the most popular player in China, and you think about China's population, there was a reason that he was the one who made it out of All-Stars.
He got more votes for All-Stars than I think any other player did combined.
Yeah, it was pretty unreal. And the jungle is going to be Axine, formerly of Jin Air. I think he goes by Sin here on the tournament client.
Yeah, he does. So it is the same guy. So he's been locking. Speaking of Sin, he's been rocking Lee Sin quite a lot lately.
Definitely very strong. His wording as a jungler, like people always talk about Insect, and I feel like Insect kind of overshadowed Axine, but Axine is definitely the stronger one. You saw Ninja there, he did the rabbit ears, and the reason why is because in China he's known as Rabbit, and Axine is known as Bears. And they've been flooded with plushies. I guess all the Chinese fans really like the Korean players of World Elite. World Elite is kind of the TSM of China. They're a very popular team, and they literally had to make a public statement, stop sending us stuffed animals, we don't have any more room. Of course, in the AD carry position, crowd should go nuts here. It is going to be Wei Xiao, the godfather of AD carries. Pretty much credited with making the modern role of AD carry and how it's played today. He had a little bit of a wean out in the previous spring split, wasn't playing at his best, but is starting to see a comeback, a lot of Twitch Lucian under his belt. I think he also had a really successful Kog'Maw game, and tying up with him in the bot lane is going to be Conan, the Barbarian. Conan has one style, and that is Leona, and if he gets his Leona roam, he is pretty much unstoppable. If you keep him in the lane, things go wrong very quickly.
Yeah, I think they have a pretty solid lineup going into this game, but we're going to see LGD's pretty solid lineup as well. And despite that they don't have quite the same popularity and they do get often overlooked, I really think LGD has a pretty good shot this time. Let's see. They're going to be giving us the lineup in just a moment. But first they're going to tell us their win percentage. A little bit lower than World Elite lately, but they are coming off a pretty decent streak. It has admittedly been against Invictus Gaming and Young Glory, two teams that haven't been doing the hottest so far. But let's see if they can make something out of it. Yeah, two sister teams as well.
We should start at the bottom with LGD here.
Yeah, so that should be PYL.
PYL is the captain of the team. We talk about how Wayless chose, like he got offers to play for World Elite and for LGD. He decided because of PYL. Fantastic player. We talk about how he gets involved in his team's play. Big Thresh player, of course, that Thresh is usually taken away from him, so Braum, Morgana, Braum, his last three played champions. Next to him is not going to be SMLZ. Obviously, the ban pretty big against LGD there. But we've seen some mixed success from their AD carry. I feel like it's very hit or miss. Sometimes he looks fantastic, sometimes he kind of teeters off.
17, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's played all Lucian really recently, but of course, with this new patch, it does beg the question of where do these two AD carries go? They were both definitely those kind of carries, but we'll see, and we'll keep going as we're now on to the mid laner. It is, of course, way less.
Thank you. I mixed up SMLZ and Styes.
That's
so
okay. It happens.
And it's STYZ. I don't want to call him Styes either. Wayless, of course, in the mid lane there. Kind of the big upgrade for LGD. He's known as a really strong solo queue player. We talked about how he got offers, chose to go for LGD. Has come out really strong. Can we talk about that Diana game? That was fantastic. The counter pick to the Kassadin. Chuan. Chuan is the jungler. Literally, if he doesn't play Lee Sin, he doesn't do anything. I don't know if he needs the echo location to find the jungle camps, but Lee Sin is a big power pick for him, and if he doesn't get it, their jungle pretty much falls off into non-existence.
And of course, leading out the lineup for LGD, it is their top laner. It is actually 17, excuse me.
Their bot lane, they've been changing their names up a lot. Formerly the top laner was Star, the Riven player. Now it's 17. It's pretty much
that earlier.
It's hit and miss. Well, they change their names so often, it's so hard to keep up with them.
I know, right?
They go crazy on the tournament run. They're like, oh, we have so many points, we can buy every single skin in Champion. Let's change our names 10 million times.
But he, as you see, plays a decent variety of champions, but also been getting Jax a lot lately, as well as the Lulu pick. It seems to be those two are pretty popular top lane picks across the board in China, but Jax not banned out quite as frequently as he is in other regions.
He's definitely kind of been more so the central focus. We talk about how China is isolated kind of in its meta and its picks and bans phase. Kassadin wasn't, I mean, this obviously last set we saw back-to-back Kassadin bans, but previously Kassadin really hadn't been a central focus. Already in picks and bans phase, Yasuo and Twisted Fate being taken away. Ninja has played Twisted Fate, I believe, twice or 3 times to mixed success. Lee Sin being banned away by World Lead. Of course, we talked about how Chuan, you do not give him Lee Sin. He doesn't really do well in any other jungle champion.
Kind of his big deal, and Lee Sin is very popular across China in general. It's also something that Axine plays very well. Another reason why they like picking him up.
I like the focus though, by banning Lee Sin out, because they had first pick, so they had the potential to take it, but Axine's jungle pool is so much larger and so much more competent than Chuan's. But you know, who knows? Chuan might pull out the Rengar or the Kha'Zix, kind of his fallbacks. Has the Elise there for him. That Jax being banned out.
And Kassadin too. So they definitely targeted heavily in that mid lane on the side of LGD, and it's the first pick Lulu, actually.
Makes sense. This should go to Ninja, which means that Thresh is open for PYL. Comfort pick for him. We talked about how World League kind of has one style. They really like to get Ninja on those utility-based mids, so they can move his power over to Wei Xiao.
And Xuan going to get his Jarvan lock in. Still hovering, still thinking about it. But this would not be a bad choice. Jarvan has been making a resurgence lately in the LPL.
To a lot of success, actually, too. Illusion played him a lot. Alan has really started to pick him up. Ooh, mixing it up and perhaps going for the
top lane Gragas.
I like this because Salme has really shown, like, we talk about how Young Su plays a lot of Gragas top because his champion pool is kind of small and restricted.
Yeah, but they switched it over on you.
I was gonna say,
prioritizing Lucian.
Salme's Gragas is pretty disgusting right now. It looks like they are hovering that over Braum being locked in, and there's the Gragas top, so solidifying that that is Ninja on that Lulu in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty big win for World Elite. They get the Braum, the coveted support pickup, saying, yeah, you can have Thresh, it's okay. But they also get Xiaomei on the Gragas top as well.
Thresh now being hovered over for PYL. Now it's funny because a lot of Thresh, they like to keep their power in lane, obviously abusing the Flay extra damage, the Descent, it's the fact that it's a very high kill pressure lane. Although with that Kog'Maw pickup, because I was going to say, PYL, he actually really likes to roam on his Thresh. You'll see him show up in the mid lane.
Wait, so now where does Lucian go?
Oh my goodness, they have 2 AD carries. Is that an AP?
I think that might be an AP Cog. this is going to be this has been a night of interesting pickups. So I wouldn't be that surprised if Wayless says, give me a Kog'Maw.
It certainly kind of fits with Wayless's MO, I guess, a bit. We talked about the Diana pick against the Kassadin to counter. Wayless did fantastic there. If he chooses, I mean, this is literally an
he's got a crazy champion pool too. He's like the one person on LGD who has a really, really wide champ pool.
Well, it's also an AP Kog'Maw versus a Lulu, which there's nothing about Kog'Maw's kit that offers him AP or AD safety in the early game. He has a little bit better wave clear, but he still needs those points effectively in his E to get that effective wave clear going for him. Lulu's still a bully early, so this is still going to be a rather rough laning phase.
Yeah, and 17 gonna be getting his Siobhan in the top lane. And you know what would be really, really interesting if they left Cao Mei on Lulu and they sent
Gragas?
They sent Gragas mid.
Gragas would have, I don't know.
Against Kog'Maw. What do you think about that? No, they're not gonna do it.
I like the Lulu better just because Lulu has more of an early bully lane phase, whereas Gragas, again, he kind of needs like levels and he needs points in his abilities to kind of scale up his power, whereas Lulu is just going to come out right out the gate and glitter lance you in the face, and that's going to hurt no matter what. Wei Xiao, though, on the Corki pick. Wei Xiao traditionally has been looking at hyper carries, just because, again, he's kind of like the go-to member for the team. Cao Mei playing incredibly well on Gragas. Of course,
Thought about the Twitch.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. We talked about how this is 4.10, so Twitch obviously saw some changes. The build paths have been changed up, so maybe just kind of falling back on the fact that, you know, Trinity hasn't been touched. It's kind of the go-to. We're going to try out Corki, test his waters, so see how well this goes for him.
And with the Braum support, you really can't go wrong, too. Do you think LGD goes for the lane swap here?
It's, what, Lucian Thresh? Versus Corki
full wife
Braum.
steal.
And the top winners are Shyvana Gragas?
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually think this favors
I think the
Gragas.
matchup is fine either way. I expect 1-1-2.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup just in general. You look at the composition out of these teams, and you can tell that LGD wants to get the grab and dive. If they can pull one person in on a death sentence, they can go all in and start to snowball a fight really fast. But there's a lot of latent danger in there. They have not one but two carries to protect. Kog'Maw is just as fragile in the mid lane as he is in the bot. And we'll see how it goes going into this game. And we're going to have a quick commercial, but guys, we'll be back on the Rift in just a second, so don't go anywhere. Here's the commercial. We'll be right back. All right, the Doom Pan Zoom Out graphic means it's time to get onto the Rift for the start of our second set of the night. It is World Elite versus LGD. I am Pyrotechnics, joined by Frosker and Frosk. We have had a lot of strange picks tonight, but AP Cog as well. I couldn't believe it's going to happen, but it did.
粉丝的声浪真是，这声浪不得了，已经赛过现场温度的热情了。
我们看到尾声这个大嘴中单是小瓶子出门的。
我想让他们喊完，结果没想到他们喊完一波以后还有下一波，两边对抗，来回互喊。现在看到是对你刚才讲这个水晶瓶出门，
瓶子出门，对，前期还是要怂，因为前期对线他还是打不过。
撑过去，打露线霸，
要嘲讽他，
强行展示一下自己的屁股。
眉毛很帅的卫生，屁股帅吗？你们看我屁股帅吗？
露露受不了了。
Yeah, very possible. You can see the mid laners trading a little bit of taunts right now. And you can see that also Wayless has gone for the Crystalline Flask to sustain up through this early laning phase. And I don't know, it's been so long since I've seen an AP Cog. I don't really know, frankly, how Wayless will do in this early game against Ninja. I definitely expect a lot of ganks to be focused on that side. Especially, we didn't talk about this at all, but Maxine on the Rengar.
这个角色的嘲讽度还是比较高。
放在了对手的蓝 buff， 这样应该知道龙女这边是一个红开。
龙女跟皇子两个人红开啊，估计是如果没有看到对方的 AD 跟辅助的话，是不肯轻易上线。来看一下结果，其实到底两边有没有换线呢？没有换，实际上是没有的。
实际上还是一个正常的分线状态。
They're throwing us through a loop this time, seriously. Brand support, AP Kog'Maw, like what? Okay, I love the LPL. They just do all sorts of crazy things like this. So the lanes are going to start up pretty normal. Conan and Wei Zhao trading it out with PYL and Lucian here in the spot lane. But so far everything's starting pretty normal. The buff starts were lightly leashed, but you know they're getting into this one. Where do you think the first move is going to come? I expect this mid lane to be focused, but let me know if you disagree.
这个因为知道酒桶前期一级的时候，可能也不会给他太大压力，一级点火啊，就是点这个 W 技能，两边要来互相的来扫兵
W 打兵会稍微快很多。
对。
不然的话。
Frost, I think you might be muted actually.
中路这边大嘴确实比较乏力，所以被露露有所压制。
Come back in.
Yeah, I was muted.
No,
and
that's
that's
okay.
how you get to
Exactly.
Challenger.
You miss a couple of insightful points, but okay. So, as you were saying about where Rengar is going to be focusing this game.
I was talking about the bottom lane just because they recognize that Wei Xiao, although here comes Chuan looking for the mid lane gank. Ninja's just going to back out. Axine, I expect him to focus bottom. Wei Xiao is the one that he wants to funnel that into. Sao Mei is going to have no problem taking on 17 in that top lane. He's been very self-sufficient, very much a team player, using his teleports. Conan getting locked up.
Yeah, okay, they're trading a lot of poke here. Conan and Wei Xiao not really returning a whole lot right now on this. Oh my goodness, is he going to get the lockup? They can't follow through. The phosphorus bomb zone is pretty good. I really like this Corki pickup because it enables them to zone so far. A Q just really can't do a whole lot right now. And they're looking for the gank, though. I don't know if Axine's going to find it.
See, it's like I said, Axine spinning his time bottom. But Corki's going to get a big power spike at level 6. His early game is kind of rough. Same thing with Braum. Like, their level 1 is good, and then kind of like level 2 through 5 is really, really rough. They get level 6, he obviously gets the rockets available to him, and Corki's power spikes incredibly. Obviously, Braum's strength is in his team fight, not necessarily his lane. So I'm definitely going to give this lane phase to XQ and PYL.
Yeah, so far so good for them, and everything is starting out pretty easy. Whoop, Conan going to get locked up and hooked up, but he's got the Unbreakable, and they can't quite follow up the damage onto him. Q will be happy to poke it out. He actually is leading the farm over Wei Xiao by just a little bit, and even though this is considered to be a lane matchup that World Elite, or excuse me, at least a lane that generally is stronger on the World Elite side, they're keeping pace quite nicely, and PYL doing his thing very well this game.
The power dynamic of that lane is going to shift drastically when the ultimates start coming out.
Yeah, the later the game goes especially. But in this top lane, we've seen a lot of this Gragas-Shyvana matchup, and so far, Gragas should win this one, but you never quite know. I definitely think Sao Mei is a stronger top laner than 17, but Chuan in the spot looking for a gank. Is he going to get it?
He has the lantern available to him. PYL's effectively looking for a
they
lantern.
caught Conan. Oh, it was brilliant. Conan's getting locked up and ignited. Can they finish it off? The flash forward, and it looks like Conan, or excuse me, PYL will knock that one up. I said the wrong. Conan goes down. PYL gets the kill. That's what happened. First blood though. 5.5 minutes.
It was almost so well played by Conan. You saw a fantastic stand behind me to dodge the flag and drag knockup, but unfortunately, Chuan followed up immediately, takes it down with has the red buff proc on him, and it's PYL that gets the last hit there. So not the worst case scenario for World Elite. The gold didn't go over to XQ on his Lucian there, stayed in the support sands, but definitely not where they want to be.
Yeah, so far they need to, World Elite really needs to catch up on this one. They have the top lane really locked down in their favor, and they could actually pull a dive here now that Axine is in the area. But
he's gonna walk through a ward though.
Yeah, if he unstealths, he'll see it really quickly. Nice job canceling the back, Sao Mei. Keeping 17 interested, but now they know he's here. He walks right out of it. So he's wasting a lot of time trying to get ganks that just never materialize. And now Chuan is here. So it'll be a 2v2 if they do it, and they don't even know this is happening. Maybe a 3v2 because Ninja's coming up. Here they started out. Yeah, Axine sees it, and they're going to go for it anyways because they know that they have Ninja coming. But they were spending so much time on this one, and this is allowing way less. If he wants to, pull back into the mid and get some free farm. They're actually forcing a couple of backs out of World Elite.
I understand what they're trying for with this roam here, bringing Ninja up. They're trying to utilize the wild growth. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out for them, and a lot of time wasted, like you said, for Axine there. I think he picked up maybe one of the mini golems. 27 farm, though, to 15. Still very much in control of that jungle, but, what, like 2 minutes wasted just standing on a brush? Now looking at Wayless.
Yeah, I mean, he almost gets a ward cleared for it, but doesn't. Okay. So, anyways, well, PYL throws a lantern out, and he tries to get a little extra soul action on that one, but Conan shoves him away with the Q. Wayla's trading pretty well right now with Ninja in the mid lane. He's not quite up there in farm, but it's pretty hard to compete with Alulu in the early game laning as far as farm goes. So far so good, I think, for LGD. They really have generally exceeded expectations, I think, in this beginning. Stayed very safe.
I think the big tell of this game, as far as where Wayless is concerned, is going to be his build path. So obviously hasn't made his back yet, still sitting on that flask in a pot. Again, my familiarity with AP Kog'Maw isn't of the highest caliber right now, especially kind of in sight of all of his recent changes.
I don't think anyone's is.
We are going to see this first back. I'm just really curious if he's going to go for kind of like an on-hit Kog'Maw and try to synergize a little bit more collectively with his kit, if he's going to go like a straight AP nuke Kog'Maw and be really fragile.
What do you think he goes for in that case? He starts the Chalice like a usual AP mid, or is he going to do something a little bit different?
Well, it's
like
kind of the difference between, like you said, like the Chalice, Deathcap, Void Staff core versus like
Lichbane, no Triforce, obviously. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Enough theory crafting for now. You're way better at it than me. Shuan hiding in a bush, trying to find a catch on somebody, but so far PYL only able to get these catches onto Conan, who's half health, admittedly, but he's still Braum. So, despite the jungle presence, pretty much all over the map, there have been very few kills this game, and actually a tiny gold lead for World Elite now, only 300, so it's not much, but you can thank the little bit of extra farm that all the lanes have been getting, at least all the lanes except bot. Bot's pretty much dead even.
So we are looking at Wayless right now, speaking of his first back, so he picks up Tier and Chalice, so literally nothing in the way of battle stats, but going for that late game Seraph's Embrace, Athene's there, so definitely more of an AP heavy style nuke Kog'Maw. Very fragile, the power spike, very much delayed with this.
Yeah, but they're going to have a really, really nice poke in zone too, despite the rest of their team being more engage heavy. If PYL lands a Thresh hook into the late game, and it gets timed with way less just shooting out the living artillery, that's going to be like insta-gib. Just boom.
It's about creating zones now. So they have the zone of the Cataclysm, you have the zone of the Dragon's Ascent, and then you also have the Thresh box. So you have like 3 different tiers of AoE ultimates, and Axion is literally standing on a
pink ward, and yeah, it's like he doesn't even know the wards are there. Okay, now he's going to go back and clear it away, but this is one of those problems that junglers have this weird reverse tunnel vision sometimes, where they are looking at the map so much that they don't always see the wards they're walking through. Oh, Q going to take a bit of poke. Whoa, PYL wants to go on this one. Braum ulti's going to come in, and he's going to force the Valkyrie back from Wei Xiao. Conan tanking up the damage with his Unbreakable. Nice disengage out of World Elite, but LGD turning up the gas for just a moment, and they get it. Nearly turned it into a kill onto Wei Xiao.
Was lucky that it was on such a short lane phase, and now we see Chuan in the top lane looking for the gank. No, Xiaomei knows. He's just going to back up, walk through a ward to get there.
He's got stellar map awareness. This game especially. Actually, everybody on World Elite has done a really great job at avoiding getting brutally murdered, with the exception, of course, of Conan, who, basically sacked in that 3v2. I mean, this game has been so safe.
We talk about how many skill shots Conan's eating, how much damage is overcoming. Yes, it's a Braum Thresh matchup, so Thresh has the advantage because he's ranged there, but Conan, again, I'll say, he's not really suited to lane phase. His strength is in his roam and his ability to sync up with the jungler and get those ganks going. Ninja looking for a roam is spotted out.
I didn't even notice, but Waylas got the blue trinket like right away, and he's been using it to avoid the ganks pretty effectively.
It makes sense.
Oh,
it's
top
just,
lane.
Ooh.
Shuan and Xiaomei are duking it out. Meanwhile, Axion, of course, is there with 17 as well. So everybody's really low, but they're going to back away from this one. And it's like everybody is reading each other so perfectly that these engages don't generate any kills for either team, but they look so close every time. Shuan actually instigated that one with his Cataclysm, and it did result in a tower for World Elite, so that was nice for them. And meanwhile, Q is looking to chase on the Wei Xiao, the Phosphorus Bomb, and the Armor Shred forcing it away. And he'll actually be able to ult on that too, but Wei Xiao too low to follow up.
And I will say something about World Elite, because I feel like it's very different from other LPL teams. Whenever there's a World Elite game, the pace of the game slows down dramatically, especially in the early game. So like if this were another LPL game, this would be like 20 to 16 kills already. coming into 12 minutes of this game, 0-1. Dragon now being pulled out by LGD.
12 minutes and it's the first Dragon. This is such an unusual game from what we were seeing in the last patch. I feel like 410 has hit the LPL pretty hard here. And look at this, teleports in. This is going to be the first fight. There's a wild growth already onto Axie, and they turn around the fight. Corki, Wei Xiao gets a kill onto Shuan, but gets melted right away. Conan now low, has to disengage out of this one. Axie trying to kite around it. Wayless, he's going to go down, and he'll be there for the Cathian surprise, but that's a small compensation for 17 as he's going to fall. Lulu getting the credit there. Ninja, and they're able to turn onto this one 4-1, and they give up Dragon. LGD, they get turned on, and World Elite reaps the benefit big time.
Fantastic collapse, covering the flanks. Wayless was entirely out of mana for that entire portion of the fight, so he goes Chalice tier, goes anyway, kind of the most quintessential part of that fight also, which led to the victory of World Elite. We are going to see the replay, but this is literally what I was just talking about. World Elite, they slow down their games, and they force you to play the game that they want, and when they get that, they're very, very good at it. It's just kind of like that issue of transitioning this kind of control, patience, and speed of the game into late game.
And how about that awareness of, hey, Conan is extremely low, let's not even lose another man. Wei Xiao's already down, but they still follow up by just muscling in and keeping him alive. Well played by World Elite to control the damage and to really prioritize targets well. Looked like they were a bit lost there, but they turned it around.
World Elite very much about winning their lane phase and transitioning that into win lane, win game. But have the Dragon, have the kills up, and
They're
now have a
just like
hefty.
TSM.
They have a gold lead, 20k
Yeah.
to 16.
Yeah, just about. So that's a nice 3,500 gold in their pockets ahead, and that comes off of course, a pretty big trade involving a Dragon as well. So where does LGD go from here? They haven't objectively lost too much except that one instance, but they are down a turret. They need to find some map pressure. I feel like they got to send 17 somewhere else, even though he's got a free farm lane open up. Oh, they're going for an engage. Conan, he's going to be able to eat all of that, but Shuan's still hiding out in the bushes, and I feel like World Elite knows this.
They need to be careful here. Another death sentence into a lantern, it won't matter that the box isn't available to them because the Cataclysm is up.
It's another box. It's just made of terrain, right?
Again, we talk about how for LGD it's very much about playing the spacing game, utilizing their AoE ult, stacking it, and creating the kind of field that they want for Wayless to go nuts. I feel XQ here was a little bit left to the side. Looks like he's going for an Infinity Edge Ghostblade Lucian build unless he decides to go BT with that BF sword. The issue that I see with Ghostblade Eye Edge is that Eye Edge is so dependent on having crit chance as a stat to make it truly effective, and if you don't build the Phantom Dancer, you're really not getting the most out of that item. I do like Ghostblade as...
They caught Wei Xiao, but he's going to Valkyrie away. Man, he's low, but they are still able to fight this one. Shuan, he's going to melt. That is a nice counter engage from Axie. They're turning it around, turning on the gas. PYL goes down. XQ by himself gets locked up on a bola. He can't even finish it off, and no, he can. Well played by XQ, and now he's turning on to Conan. Can he get himself a double in this one? He can dash forward, but he can't quite finish it off. Wei Xiao coming to the rescue, and the blinking health bars from World Elite. It's a 2-for-1 trade. However, nice turnaround from XQ, and Ninja looking to find a kill on the side, but he gets chased away. Got a little bit scared and got some cold feet because Wayless was hot on his tail there.
Overreach by Axion right there. Overzealous gets punished for it when XQ picks up the red buff and then turns it on Conan. Almost ends up in a double kill. Now, Salme in this top lane really sticking it to 17. 117 CS to 106, so decent little buffer for Salme, but really most of his power spike is coming from the fact that that cask.
I thought they nerfed Gragas AP ratios, but they're still making this burst style work, and he's only got 2 Dorans and a Morello Nomicon? I mean, that's a lot of damage.
Gragas has really come into, because how they change his ultimate is he's able to fire it off more often. The cooldown has been reduced on it, so he can spam it more.
Spammy mage, kind of like Ryze.
Well, yeah, so typically what happens for him in the top lane is he either becomes, he has different playstyle options, which again kind of talks to the strength of that champion pick right now. He can go AP, wave clear, and offer a lot of different utility as far as, knockups, displacement, disengage, things like that. Or he can go super tanky and then kind of do the exact same thing. So like tanky, disengage, or AP, burst, disengage utility. But that cast cooldown a huge factor.
Do you think we'll start to see Gragas support becoming popular with all of these flex pickups?
It's definitely made a showing in other regions. China does have quite a natural history with weird support pickups. They like to have the hard engage on the supports.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Xuan trying to defend this mid lane. Ninja might have something to say about that. He's going to poke it down. Glitter Lance and Help Picks coming in. He throws a flag, but is not impressed. Not amused at all, and it will be a tower in favor of World Elite. Now 2-0. And actually forcing the flash away from Xuan. That was a scary staring contest, and it looks like Xuan blinked.
So keep with me here, because you were a little bit British there with your tower going down, although
Just a
Axine
skosh.
ultimate.
Oh my goodness, there's going to be a dive here. Conan and Wei Zhao moving on forward, but they can't quite get it out. The missile barrage barely missing, but they will settle for a tower. So all 3 outer turrets taken by World Elite here. And they're going to let the minions do the thing to finish it all off. Well, maybe not, because Wei Zhao really wants that gold. But now that they've cracked the map wide open and the Dragon's up in about 30 seconds, 45 actually, this is pretty dangerous for LGD. What can they do to start wrestling some control back into this game?
They need to stack their AoE ultimates. They kind of have a wombo combo composition, except they really don't have like the issue with AP Kog'Maw is there's not like a lot of upfront burst. Yeah, he can like hit you with his E and then drop his R on you. That's gonna do like a decent chunk of health, but it's not like an Oriana Shockwave or a Ziggs Mako Inferno Bomb or even like a. We'll use the example of Brand. It's not that initial upfront like you just got 100-0. Wei Zhao now on the chase.
Yeah, I mean he's just scaring the living daylights out of XQ here. And although PYL coming around the side to try and zone him, this might be the chance for XQ to get this kill. But oh, it nearly gets turned around. Wei Zhao bit off a little more than he could chew there as PYL comes in for the flank. And this is Wei Zhao's one weakness. He does go ham when he thinks he can get these kills, and he gets burned for it. We've actually seen Name do this a couple of times this season too. These
Valkyrie into team fights.
Yeah, incredibly powerful AD carries, incredibly strong players getting really cocky. Oh, Axine, wow, half his health melted. There's the power of an AP Kog'Maw, and all he's got is the Chalice and the Sork Shoes. This Dragon is up for grabs right now. With Wei Zhao not in the fight, LGD have a ticking clock rather, to try and take it, but I think they're going to back away for now.
It's kind of like a Nidalee composition. Kog'Maw wants to land those ultimates and do like a poke around objective focus, which I kind of like because World Elite historically has been very objective focused, especially around dragons. Unfortunately, look at the zone of that barrel alone.
They're doing this objective focus quite well this time, although Xuan trying to make a show of it. No, it's going to get smited away by Axine, and they'll pull him back to safety with the Lantern. But yeah, they completely gave that one up. Now they're looking for a catch, get the separation off, but realize they can't follow it up with the damage. They have 17 on the outside, but they're not confident to engage this. They're down about 6,000 gold. And
they had
it's
a numbers
for giving things up like that. Yeah, I have no idea why LGD didn't go in on that.
They have all the engagement tools. They have a numbers advantage. Like I said, the one kind of big weakness for them is that Kog'Maw. No one on their team can effectively 100-0 like anyone on World Elite. So if you drop like a Cataclysm, typically you want to like drop an AoE ultimate like that, and that person disappears. But now Conan,
there we go. There is a big Cataclysm landing now. Wei Zhao going to be able to kite away from this one. Conan, he's pretty taken low, and he gets bursted. The Gragas barrel comes out. Xuan having to run away from this one. XQ's going to melt. Wei Zhao picks himself up a nice kill onto PYL, and he gets a double actually onto Lucian, but he's getting kited out and chased out. 17 going to flash forward saying, you're not getting out of that for free. It's a 2-for-3 trade in favor of LGD, but they paid quite dearly for it, and Xuan nearly made it an even trade. Meanwhile, the mid lane turret, second tier, it's going to fall as well. Ninja and Axine completely uncontested on this.
So many resources expended bottom in that fight. The roam from Wayless to not really pick up anything. I don't even think he got an assist there. Is going to lose his mid-tier tower, so definitely still in favor of World Elite playing the game that they want to play. Slower pace game, objective focus style game. The thing is that when it gets to the inhibitor towers, they kind of lose focus on where they need to be, and they play a little bit timid about like not going in, making those dives. So we'll see if they're able to. Again, it's all about World Elite. Like, we expect this of World Elite. It's now about, can they transition this early game, mid game strength into late game and to finish this off. They're creating a sizable gold lead, 35-29, so a good 5k in the pocket right now at 20 minutes, which is pretty big. Like, those are sizable items. Oh my god, Sword of the Occult.
Yeah, that's happening.
Speaking of sizable items.
Speaking of being a very, very confident in your playstyle, that is a Sword of the Occult on a 3/3 Corki. Okay, so you might as well, right?
It's not as uncommon in LPL as it is in the international scene.
That's something we definitely got to point out. These items are, and honestly, like, you could even talk about like Chinese solo queue. I know this is not exactly the same thing, but if you look at like statistics on Chinese solo queue, Sword of the Occult and Medjay Soul Stealer are like the most bought items.
We
They
talk about
love
how
playing Team Deathmatch.
World Elite Academy's mid laner Xie is known for his Annie with Majais, like specifically. But we do have now LGD looking for their second tower of the game.
Now look at all the damage being put out by this AP Kog'Maw. I completely forgot how much you can do just by Void oozing out. You get the slowdown, you get the damage, and he keeps poking with the Living Artillery. I don't even think they can clear wards very effectively. PYL, he's going to whiff a hook wide to the left, but they're still able to clear this wave incredibly effectively. All they have to do is avoid getting caught, and LGD should be able to march down this mid. Meanwhile, Xiwan trying to find and flank, but with Axion and Conan there, not going to be able to pull it off. First tier tower, though, might fall.
We talked about
defense.
The creativity of LGD's picks. Again, running a poke composition. We don't see a lot of pokes.
Oh, Axion trying to go in for it. He gets wild growth immediately. PYL now being caught. There's the box, though, for the disengage. And here comes Xiwan in to try and make this happen. PYL miraculously still alive, but Xiwan getting melted down, and it's Wei Xiao that shreds his armor into oblivion, and PYL hooks in a Corki. Does not like that catch, though. He goes down as well. It's a 2-for-none trade, and Wei Xiao and the rest of World Elite are marching down the mid lane.
It looked so good for LGD. What a hero play from PYL to disengage Axion.
What do you do? He goes in. He manages to get, well, help at least. XQ get a kill. Way less collapses with him as well. But he's going to go down. This is going to be an ace, and they're going to kite away from this one. Axion will go down. Actually, that was one of the better things that they could have done. Wei Xiao survives this, but that could have easily been a free inhibitor if they hadn't.
They stole the inhibitor. I'm not quite sure about that engagement. I think that they could have utilized the resources to try to defend on the tower instead of, you know, fighting 3 feet off of the tower. Do manage to trade, what, 4 for 3 in kind of an extended, elongated team fight, but World Elite definitely coming out huge on top, extending their gold lead to almost 10k.
Yeah, they just keep taking, they're given an inch and they take however many miles that, you know, you really need to get from here to the Nexus. They've been doing it time and time again. They're up to about 7,000 or 8,000 gold in the lead right now. They have a 4-turret advantage. They've controlled the dragon all game. LGD just simply does not look confident enough to take them on. And at the beginning, I was worried that maybe they just weren't respecting, or they were over-respecting World Elite as a team a little bit. Now they're just plain running scared.
Definitely a bit disorganized here, and we are going to see the replay. Look at that flay to disengage Axion with his initial jump. It looks so good for a second there. The Cataclysm on 3 members, the damage coming across, and then a perfect cask.
Then Xiaomei happened, and PYL, he throws the hook out for reasons that I am not entirely certain. He gets Wei Xiao, who just blows him up, and that sets in motion the chain reaction. But it was a nice attempt by LGD to stem the flow of the blood that just completely was all of their dead bodies at the end of that fight. So far, saved the inhibitor, but it's wide open for World Elite to take the next time an engage happens. Baron's starting to be a very real possibility, even though it's only 25 minutes into the game now.
World Elite, they have this tendency to stall out, kind of speaking about Baron. They have a tendency to stall out and over-rely on Baron. Again, we talk about how they get really timid. It's to their advantage that they took such an early inhibitor tower, so we'll see if they're able to overcome kind of their own playstyle and finish this out and go for the inhib.
Oh, here we go. It's a big fight. Xiaomei, he gets wild growth almost immediately, but now the fight is on, and it looks like the rest of LGD might melt in this one as they're getting turned around. Corki, he's going to get a kill. Wei Xiao still turning around the fight. It looks like they're going to lose their top laner and their jungler, though way less. He gets blown up around the other side, and he's trying to kite back. XQ stays alive for the time being, dodging out the missile barrage, and he finally goes down. Wei Xiao looking flawless in this one, and it is going to be a 2 or a 3 rather for 4 trade. Make that 5 is 17. Still kiting away from Ninja. I don't know if he can do this forever, though. Wei Xiao is looking way too strong, and he gets the kill. It is an ace out of World Elite, and they're looking to turn down on this inhibitor.
Yeah, that was, oh, by the way, guys, this is
Hi,
Kelsey.
Kelsey. We had a little bit of emergency caster shift up, but thank you for joining us once again, Kelsey.
Yeah, sorry about that. Frostburn is suddenly not feeling very well at all, so I'm just going to jump in really quick here, but just looking at that fight, really what happened was LGD really tried to make something happen there with that Cataclysm, but what he effectively ended up doing was creating this area for some of Corky's zones or some of Wei Xiao's zoning, or sorry, AoE to just sort of melt through that, and for Cao Mei's AoE to just sort of blow up that area. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but really good fighting, really good reaction by World Elite there.
Yeah, and also, Wei Xiao kiting around just miraculously, didn't even take damage, rather. He healed it all up, and like every single time they tried to jump in on my, and I think he actually got that I think he got every one of those kills. That was a penta, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it definitely was a pentakill.
Yeah, let's look at that again. I mean, it was so
Sorry.
crazy,
Yeah,
I couldn't keep track of it, but here we go. You want to go ahead and take this one?
Yeah, it looks like, okay, so Cao Mei actually did end up missing that. So Quan took the opportunity to sort of go in, find that. He grabs the cask there. We see Wei Xiao come in, start putting his AoE over top of the Cataclysm, melting that down. He's effectively evading 17 in the back. But really, that was just, actually, I almost want to say that was Chuen MVP right there. Like, setting up that Cataclysm, keeping people away from Wei Xiao effectively, and he exploited that very well and very intelligently.
So that pretty much opens up just a huge lead right now for World Elite. And look, even though PYL gets the catch on, they're just not dishing the damage out. PYL tanks everything to the face, and it's actually Ninja who deals the most to him with the Glitter Lance and Help Picks follow-up. They just don't have an answer to this slow death march that World Elite is throwing at them. Looks like the Baron might be the next objective on the map. It is 28 minutes, far longer than we usually see a Baron being contested, but they're just going to do the Fnatic Death Brush, wait for them to try and catch out. Ninja trying to bait it away. I think LGD is a little too smart for this, or at least a little too scared for this. Oh, never mind, here they go. They're going to catch Xuan, and he doesn't even get a chance to say goodbye. The hook comes out from PYL, but he doesn't want that, so he's going to throw that line away. It's a 5v4, and it can only get better for World Elite as they continue to chase away. The barrel's going to knock everyone out, and it looks like they'll answer with a kill. XQ picks one up, but it doesn't even matter that Cao Mei is dead. They are marching forward. XQ's going to go down. It is only way less to defend the base, and there is no way that he's able to knock them out of the park here. As low as they are, they should be able to finish this one up, and they're going to just go straight for the Nexus. Conan nearly goes down in that one. Wei Xiao nearly goes down. I mean, this is a pretty miraculous move, actually, by Wayless. He's going to force them off, and that's the power of an AP Cog, I suppose.
Yeah, so that was really good by Wayless right there, but otherwise, I'm really pleased to see this kind of decisive playmaking in the late game from World Elite. I think it's something they've been struggling with, but they found an area without vision. They predicted where LGD was going to want to go because obviously Baron is in play and they'd cleared out the vision there. And then they just waited for them to show up. They understood their power. They abused their ability to win fights. They knew how strong they were, and they just tried to close off of it. Unfortunately, like you said, Ninja was able to just sort of exploit the fact that they were all low after that fight. There was a slight, they hadn't really, I guess the items don't matter that much at this point because they were ahead, but they hadn't fought after like a couple of those fights, so Ninja was exploiting some of that.
Yeah, it was a really nice job, actually. And, you know, credit Ninja to keeping Cao Mei alive just for the moment they needed in that other, like, a couple fights ago. I just wanted to point that one out, too. It has really been a fantastic team effort by World Elite, and LGD just has not been able to stand up to this onslaught. So, completely running the map right now, World Elite can turn on Baron as easily as that, and there we go. It's getting bursted down so quickly. There's no possible answer from LGD at this point, and all they can do is try to turtle it out to the late game, but they don't even have scaling on their side with the exception of way less.
Right, and you can see the map, just the minions were pushed into the base, they had to regroup and fall back there, and World Elite again is actually just making these decisions, making these calls, looking very decisive in this game.
Yeah, they're really putting the pressure forward onto LGD in just such a massive gold lead. It's maybe 31 minutes in, but they're really able to push the gas into gear as they take another tower in favor. It's 8-1 towers. LGD just simply did not have enough damage to follow it up. What a tanky frontline. Conan, yeah, he loses a pretty good chunk of his health bar, but he just shields it up anyways, thanks to Lulu and is unbreakable. And this is just such a slow death march that can only really end one way. I don't see if LGD can come back from this one.
They are kind of grouping up over on the other side of the wall there. It looks like they might try to make something happen if maybe Wei Xiao overextends.
Yeah, it would be a really dangerous maneuver, but there's really no reason for them doing it. Ninja's going to get the poke out, and there's a static shift proc on the side of XQ. They're going to force him away for now, but they just have so many avenues of attack. World Elite, unless they just get a little too cocky, I don't know how this can be stopped. Even when Ninja shows up, everybody from LGD is just scattering away. Even 17 doesn't feel like he can take this straight up.
Yeah, definitely, but LGD, they have to try to do something. Like, they have to hope that Wei Xiao, like the overextension there, the rest of LGD wasn't really grouped to make that happen, and Ninja was a little bit back. So
they're going to take a fight. Now might be the time. Their inhibitor is extremely low right now, and World Elite marching up the front. I think they might just give this one up. They're just going to get pushed in unless they take something. You're right.
Yeah, so again, they can't really take a fight there because there was no
Well, maybe
turret.
they are. PYL, he's going to get a hook, but it's going to be Wei Xiao picking himself up. Not quite another kill. He gets the tower, but it's actually going to be the mid laner that falls. Ninja goes down, and they're actually still all alive on the side of LGD. They somehow turn this one around. Conan goes down, and so does Axine. They stay alive in this one. They might have lost an inhibitor turret, but somehow they force them away. PYL, blinking health bar, stays alive in this. Nice turnaround by LGD, but they have a long way to go.
Right, and as I was saying, they couldn't really take a fight around the inhibitor because there was no, they need something, they need some sort of pressure from a turret or some extra damage there. So they waited until World Elite sort of rotated up top, and then PYL got an excellent death sentence there to sort of set that going, and LGD had a almost miraculous victory there.
Yeah, so it was a nice turnaround, and they managed to get something out of it. In fact, 2 towers. The first one really should have fallen a lot earlier in the game, but that helps them a little bit on the map, and if they can take this dragon, they might be on their way to a very, very unlikely comeback, but it's such a dangerous spot to be in. One inhibitor down, one of them wide open, and if World Elite reads this, they might be able to contest, but no, it's already going down. So nicely done by LGD to turn on for a couple of nice objectives. Baron is now actually, it's still up. It's, I mean, the buff's still up, excuse me. I'm getting loopy. It's that late, but the buff is now wearing off. Oh well, no, actually it's not because that's Axine. Axine and Ninja went down in that fight. What am I talking about? Kelsey, you might have to take over. I'm just completely half-braining this one. Wei Xiao's still alive, still got the buff. I'll never leave you, I promise.
So what we see here is the World Elite is just pushing out their lanes, making sure they don't get caught off, sort of reverting back on this turtle style. I'm worried that since they lost, we're making those decisive plays and we're ultimately punished for staying a little bit longer, not regrouping with low health bars and getting a little cocky there, that they might revert back to this indecisive state that they've been exposing, but it looks like they are just going to come up back into LGD's base here.
Yeah, so far, World Elite is just going to keep continuing the strategy that's worked for them quite well, and that is brute forcing down the front door. They have an open inhibitor, they can take it, they are forcing 17 to go around the side, so there's no possible counter engage except for if PYL gets a good hook. And then Salme is not in the area, but he is now regrouping with the team. And 17 not quite there. He's got teleport available, but there's really no need when he's that close to it. This inhibitor is getting poked out really quick, and LGD have to answer with something. PYL, ever a present threat, but they're getting poked out left and right. Conan trying to get a Q onto somebody and stack up the winner's bite. Let's see if they can do this one. They are still pushing the wave forward. Banshee's Veil is being spent left and right. XQ taken low. I don't know. This is getting really dangerous right now for LGD to stay. And this inhibitor looking very juicy for World Elite. Still getting poked out. One more hit will do it. And they get a catch on a Conan, though. Is that going to be the engage they need? Nope. Axine, he doesn't quite get the inhibitor. Oh, the barrel's going to come out now for Salme, and they're still not taking a fight. Shuon, though, he's really, really low. I don't know if he can stay alive in this one. The inhibitor's going to fall. Conan, going to get an ult out. Now it's 17 coming into the fight, but he gets taken down by Wei Xiao. And how many kills does Corki have this game? Axine, he's low. Conan is a blinking health bar. I don't know if they can hold this one out, but now they're jumping into XQ. The wild growth comes in. Axine's still alive in this one. Shuon, where did he go? Boom, he's down. And XQ, he doesn't survive this one either. Way less. He's going to melt all the way back onto his fountain. Can he stay alive? No, he can't. Wei Xiao getting another kill. This game is all over. It's going to be 36 minutes and in favor of World Elite. Game number 1 masterfully goes over to the second place team. I guess it's third place now. Not anymore.
World Elite coming in huge. Hi, Pyra.
Oh, hey, Frosk. I hear you are, you're feeling better now, huh?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was feeling a little bit under the weather. Had to
That's
quickly
okay.
go and
Kelsey
run.
did a fantastic job taking over in the meantime.
Oh yes, definitely a huge thank you to Kelsey there for coming up big. But speaking of coming up big, World Elite looks like they came up big in the back half of that game.
I want to see the stats on Wei Zhao at the end of that game. A pentakill just following up every single time. This is the dominant AD carry from World Elite that we've been looking for all split. If he plays like that every game, oh, you better watch out playing World Elite. That was just masterful.
Definitely, but I think we're going to go into a quick break as they break down on the couches what happened last time, maybe pull up some highlights for you guys to look at. But otherwise, that was what, only game one?
Yeah, we got another one to go, and we'll see if LGD can come back in that one, but it's going to be a hard climb as World Elite looking incredibly strong in their first game of the night. So we will be right back, guys. Don't touch that browser. You're watching the LPL in English.